Hello, I'm John Fuller. We are continuing our discussion of the U.S. court system, specifically our book, American Criminal Courts, Social Process, and Legal Context. This chapter deals with defense attorneys and how they attempt to constrain the power of the state and protect their clients. The defense attorney is part of the courtroom work group, but she or he really is an outsider in the courtroom work group. They are typically paid by the defendant, or they may be paid by a public defender's office, but the idea is that they work in an adversarial way against the interest of the prosecutor. There is a price to pay for this independence in terms of being an outsider, but there are also some benefits to being an outsider in that the defense attorney has the ability and the obligation to challenge the case of the state and to ensure that the defendant gets a fair trial. Defense attorneys come in various stripes. First of all, there is the private defense attorney that we are all familiar with. The private defense attorney is paid by the defendant. This private defense attorney may be part of a large legal firm or may be an independent attorney, but basically most of the criminal defense attorneys have to engage in other types of practice of law, doing wills, divorces, whatever, because defense attorneys really don't have that many cases. Public defenders are another matter. Public defenders are what we refer to when we're talking about the Miranda rights, where if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be supplied for you. Jurisdictions must come up with ways of providing defense for people who do not have money. Some large jurisdictions will have a public defender office where the public defender will be an elected official who will hire a staff of assistant public defenders who will provide defense for indigent offenders. Other types of public defender systems may be a contract system where the court will contract with one legal firm to provide all the public defender services needed. The public defender in this case is independent from the court, but at the same time represents all the indigent cases. And then there's another type of public defender, which is a referral basis where people are brought in on a case-by-case basis to serve the interest of protecting the defendant's rights in the court. One of the problems that many people have with the whole idea of a defense counsel is that the defense counsel works for the defendant and not necessarily for justice. The idea behind a defense attorney's case is that they need to show a reasonable doubt in the prosecutor's case so that the person will not be convicted. Oftentimes, maybe even most of the time, the defendant actually is guilty, and the defense attorney knows the defendant is guilty. That said, it is still the defense attorney's job to provide the best available legal advice to that defendant, to set that defendant free if the prosecutor cannot make his or her case. Many people will say, how can you defend a murderer who you know is guilty? And the answer to that is, it's not the defense attorney's job to determine guilt or innocence. It's the defense attorney's job to provide the best available defense. And if other people in the system, the police, the prosecutor, the jury, do their job right and prove the case beyond the reasonable doubt, then that person will be convicted. It's kind of a real tension then between what the defense attorney is supposed to do and what the public sees as justice. And some defense attorneys will not take certain types of cases because they simply feel in their hearts that they cannot defend certain types of cases. But there will always be somebody there who will take even the most heinous cases because of their belief that everybody deserves an adequate defense in the American courtroom. And so while we have the prosecutor on one hand, we have the defense attorney on the other hand to balance out the advocacy of the case so that justice can be achieved. Thank you.